Welcome back to Coaching from My Wheelchair podcast. I'm your host, Coach Jay, and today we're talking about something that might just change the way you approach life's challenges, saying the quiet part out loud, and why it's okay to make adjustments. Life doesn't come with a perfect roadmap, does it? Sometimes, the plans we make don't work out the way we expected. Maybe it's a career goal that no longer feels right, a personal project that's lost its spark, or a relationship that's draining instead of fulfilling. In these moments, many of us feel pressure to stick it out, even when deep down, we know something needs to change. But here's the thing, there's no shame in pivoting. It's okay to make adjustments when life calls for it. In fact, it's one of the most empowering choices you can make. Admitting that something isn't working and having the courage to do something about it isn't weakness, it's strength. In today's episode, we're going to unpack what it means to say the quiet part out loud. We'll explore why it's important to acknowledge when things need to change, how to recognize the signs, and actionable strategies for embracing adjustments without guilt. Along the way, I'll share real-life coaching examples, personal stories, and practical advice you can use to navigate these moments with confidence. And don't worry, we'll also have a little fun, because life's twists and turns are way easier to handle when we keep our sense of humor. Okay? Let's dive in. Before we get into the how, let's talk about the why. Why is it so hard to admit when something isn't working? Why do we avoid saying the quiet part out loud? One big reason is fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of what others might think. We live in a culture that often equates sticking to a plan with success, even if that plan is no longer serving us. Another reason is ego. Sometimes we tie our identity to a specific goal or path. Admitting that it's time to pivot can feel like admitting defeat, but it's not. It's actually an act of self-awareness and growth. Lastly, there's the pressure to meet expectations our own and those of others. Maybe you've been working toward a goal for so long that the thought of changing course feels overwhelming. Or maybe you're worried about disappointing people who've been cheering you on. Here's the truth. Saying the quiet part out loud isn't about letting people down, it's about lifting yourself up. It's about being honest with yourself and making choices that align with who you are and what you need in this moment. Let me share a story about one of my clients, Tom. Tom had spent years working toward a high-level position at his company. When he finally got the promotion, he thought he'd feel fulfilled, but instead, he felt empty. The long hours and high stress weren't what he expected, and he found himself dreading each day. When Tom came to me, he said, "I feel stuck. I worked so hard for this, but it's not what I thought it would be. I can't quit now, can I?" We spent a few sessions unpacking his feelings and exploring his values. What became clear was that Tom's priorities had shifted. What mattered to him now was spending more time with his family and pursuing creative projects that brought him joy. Here's what I told Tom. It's okay to pivot. Just because something was right for you at one point doesn't mean it's right for you forever. Tom eventually transitioned into a different role that gave him more balance, and he couldn't be happier. The lesson here is that it's never too late to adjust your course. Life is dynamic, and your goals can be too. So, how do you know when it's time to say the quiet part out loud and make a change? Here are some signs to watch for. 1. You're feeling consistently drained. If something is zapping your energy rather than fueling it, that's a major red flag. 2. You're stuck in a cycle of frustration. When you keep hitting the same roadblocks, it might be time to rethink your approach. 3. Your priorities have shifted. Life changes, and so do your values and goals. What worked for you a year ago might not align with who you are now. 4. You're avoiding the truth. If you find yourself making excuses or avoiding tough conversations, it's a sign that something needs to change. 5. You feel resentful or unfulfilled. When the joy is gone, and all you feel is obligation, it's time to reevaluate. Okay, so you've recognized that it's time for a change. Now what? Here are some practical strategies to help you navigate this process with confidence. You want to give yourself permission to pivot. The first step is letting go of the guilt. Remind yourself that making adjustments isn't failure, it's growth. You're not giving up. You're moving forward in a way that aligns with your current needs and values. You want to get clear on what matters. Take some time to reflect on your priorities. What's most important to you right now? What brings you joy, fulfillment, and purpose? Use these insights as a compass to guide your decisions. Make sure you communicate openly. If your adjustment affects others like a partner, team, or friend, have an honest conversation about your intentions. Explain why you're making the change and how it will benefit everyone involved. Next, always start small. You don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight. Start with small, manageable changes that move you closer to where you want to be. And lastly, celebrate your courage. Making adjustments takes bravery. Take a moment to acknowledge and celebrate your decision to prioritize your well-being and growth. Now, let's address some common questions about making adjustments and saying the quiet part out loud. 1. What if people judge me for making a change? Remember, this is your life, not theirs. The people who truly care about you will support your decision, even if they don't fully understand it. 2. How do I know if I'm making the right choice? Trust your intuition. If something feels off, and you've done the reflection work to identify why, that's your answer. 3. What if I feel like I've wasted time by pivoting? No time is ever wasted. Every experience teaches you something valuable, even if it leads you in a different direction. 4. How can I rebuild momentum after making a change? Start with small wins. Break your new goal into bite-sized steps and celebrate each one. This helps you build confidence and keep moving forward. 5. Is it ever too late to make adjustments? Absolutely not. Life is a journey, and it's never too late to align your path with your truth. Here are my final thoughts. Own your journey. Life is full of twists, turns, and unexpected detours. The key is to approach these moments with honesty and courage. Saying the quiet part out loud isn't about admitting failure. It's about taking ownership of your journey and making choices that serve your highest good. Remember, it's okay to adjust your course. It's okay to pivot. And it's always okay to say the quiet part out loud. And that's a wrap, folks. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Coaching from My Wheelchair podcast. If this resonated with you, please subscribe, share it with someone who might need it, and leave a review.
You can also buy a copy of Coach Jay's book, Coaching from My Wheelchair: Tips, Tidbits, Tools, and Strategies for Improving Your Personal and Professional Self-Development, available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. You can also connect with him on social media, on Instagram at TWCCSLLC, and you can also find him on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and through his website at therightcoachingservices.com/podcasts.
Thanks for tuning in, and remember to stay educated, stay informed, and learn something new. Until next time, this is Coach Jay.